Hello and welcome to Game World Art. I thought I'd go back to Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. So I've been doing a lot of videos and things in GTA 5 and RDR2, looking at things that I worked on. But since its release in December 2023, I've been playing Avatar Frontiers of Pandora as much as I can. I've not been here for a few weeks. I really missed the landscape of Avatar. So I started out in the swamps and then we went up through Shadow Hollow, Dyer's Bowl, visited the tap facility where the game starts, Tapestry Falls, and we came all the way around into the Rising Spires. We visited Home Tree for a little bit, and then currently in Shadow Wood, Pinglaw Forest. And I've been walking this whole time. I kind of missed my Ikran, and I thought I'd follow the route in the mission where you get your Ikran up here, the Ikran Rookery. And we thought we'd probably have a little fly about as well. Now, I'm not in any rush here. I'm just going to take my time because this is me just really appreciating how nice this world looks. I love these plants. Let's remind ourselves what they are. Helicaradian flora, a plant species that retracts its leaves when touched. It does indeed. I love it. It's endless fun just saying, whoop, hey. And just look at the lighting. Pinky red light bouncing off the ground. And the plants around it. I mean, that's just great. Hey, whoop. The ray trace lighting is really excellent. I love it. It's so good on a game like this. There we go. That's the Ikran Rookery up there. I'll have a little wander. Well, I want to check out these bamboo-like things. These are amazing. So again, let's have a look. What is it? What's its name? Storm Sky Bamboo. They're a really interesting foliage colour as well. They kind of stick out. You know, you can see them just nestling amongst all the other trees there. It's a nice little bit of visual contrast so that you don't end up with too many walls of solid green. But it just complements the other colours perfectly, I think. And those flashes of purple coming through. You know, the colour direction in this game is amazing. It's a real feast for the eyes. Look at this bamboo type stuff. Can we find out what that is? It doesn't seem to want to give us a description of that one. Not to worry. I actually bought a PS5 controller for this game because I love motion aiming. I know it tends to divide people. Some people just don't see the point. But I love motion aiming. I just think to be able to do this in an analog sense, looking around, I find it adds to the immersion quite a lot. And so this is why I have a PS5 controller but no PS5. I game on the PC. Although I do have a Nintendo Switch, of course. Doesn't everyone now? Beautiful. But anyway, I'm endlessly getting distracted by this game. Because there's so much to see. I was looking at this Storm Sky Bamboo because it's got other little things growing on it, you know. I love the flora in this game. It's fantastic. It's such detail. You got little straggly bits and, you know, maybe that's some sort of parasitical sort of viney plant thing that lives alongside these things. There's some vines dangling there. Oh, beautiful. Well, let's carry on. Oh, we got love. Excellent. We got more of these little fellows. I've forgotten again what they're called. Helicaradian. 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 And boop. Endlessly satisfying, isn't it? I mean, not only are they so tactile, they're such a brilliant inclusion from the films, aren't they? They're like iconic kind of Pandoran flora, aren't they? And then just the way they combine with the ray trace lighting, it's just casting that beautiful glow. You know, the contrast of the reds against the greens of the jungle. Down here it's mixing. It's just amazing. There we go. The Snowdrop engine is an amazing engine, I think. I think it's one of the best engines out there. Boop. So I'm not going to feel compelled to fill every moment of silence with me nattering, to be quite honest, you know. I know shorter form content wants to sort of do that, but this is a relaxed journey. And I started out doing it with no commentary, just literally just wandering around like this, because I like doing that. I thought I might as well video it. Why not? But after doing some commentary on GTA 5 and RDR2 videos and stuff, you know, I find I quite like it. It's a nice externalization of my inner monologue when I'm playing games. So why not? We can afford ourselves the luxury of just slowing down. And that's one thing that this game does really well since finishing all the missions and stuff. I use it as a place to visit and unwind. It's like going out for a walk, you know. I like walking in the Highlands and getting outdoors. I love it. That's not so easily done of a working week, so this is the ideal retreat for me. And it is just such an amazing achievement of level design, I think. It really is. The environmental design and art direction on this game is just phenomenal. I mean, let's look at a map, right? The organization of making all of these floating islands, usually in game design, you know, you're not making floating things generally. You know, it's generally a landscape that's on the ground, of course, and that's pretty much it. We're here, the complexity of organizing among the art team, getting all these three-dimensional islands that are then above other terrain that certain other artists would probably have done as well, all the ground. And they've got to get it right. I imagine they probably have a small team concentrating on all floating islands. And then you let the rest of the environment art team do the actual landscape terrain, possibly. But yeah, quite an amazing achievement. The design, organization. Ubisoft are really good at that, I think. I know Ubisoft tend to get bashed a bit, but for my play style of games, they're my favorite developer, I'd have to say. As much as I like RDR and GTA, just check this out here. Look at the surface materials we've got going on here. The tech that the Snowdrop engine lets you do is just amazing. Now let's get down even closer. We've got mud, we've got a little damp, little puddle or little indentations from wildlife and what have you. Then you got leaves sitting on top. You know, the parallax shaders are really good. Where you've got basically the shader is giving all this 3D form. This is essentially fairly flat geometry. And it's all in the shader, calculating slices of height of one texture versus another and displaying accordingly. Like this mud is raised up above some of this lower grass that's caught in between it, and there's tree roots poking up. So there'll be a grayscale texture from black as the lowest point and white to the highest point. And that'll dictate what the shapes are. So these tree roots that are protruding, you know, they'll be fairly white in the height map that's getting used for these parallax shaders. And the lowest spots down in these divots in the mud, you know, they'll be very dark, if not black. Let's get up there. Alright, it's all beautifully just blends in with some nice little rock. You know, look at the cracks in the corner there. You know, it's generally beautifully painted in and well considered. The veg placement is great. I mean, this won't be done by hand, of course. They're clearly employing like a lot of procedural approaches to veg placements and stuff. But it really is rather good. And on GTA 5, we basically had defined areas that would drop certain types of veg, and you could blend between those things to produce variants of different veg types. You know, so and it would obviously not include vertical surfaces like rocks and cliffs and stuff. And it worked pretty well that way. And imagine they'll be using some variant of that technique. We get ever more sophisticated about putting all this vegetation down. As we've got the processing power to, you know, display all this veg. This is amazing. And if you just sort of get down low at any given point, you can see the texture underneath, that material with the leaves and the little pebbly rocks there. You know, look how it's catching the light. It's blooming beautiful. That's amazing. But then on top of that, you've got the other veg. You've got the grasses poking up, little ones and then bigger ones up here. You've got little sort of other little bushy plant things coming out, the ferns for the low stuff. And then you've got, you know, a slightly higher grass canopy with bigger plants coming up there. And these ones as well that are all just blowing in the wind. And, you know, when you look up close, they look great. You know, the sheen on them is beautiful. They're catching the light wonderfully. Man, I could talk all day about this, and I guess this is what I'm doing, isn't it? It's just astounding. To me, as an environment artist, I think the craft that they've done on this is just amazing. I love just walking around and appreciating it. There's some little woods that we can collect for our arrows. I don't need any because I'm not even using arrows or bows. This is all non-combat. I'm appreciating the environment. I'm at one with the environment. A little lizard guy there. He's gone off into the mossy vines. So, I've not done this since the first mission, of course, so I'm just having a little cast around looking. Looks like dusk is just coming on. You see the little glow starting to peek out. Just all the grasses and stuff. Have a look around there. Yeah, a rosy evening glow's coming on. Nice. Look at that. Beautiful. Even though it's dense jungle, there's always beautiful sight lines. Got a really well considered canopy layering going on here. And here we are being nicely guided through. Look at that archway there. You know, that's just a gateway if ever I saw one. And the beautiful roots and stuff. Look at that as it lights up as we walk over it as well. Check that out. You know, it's the detail. It's just all the... We're getting that beautiful glow of all the plants. And a nice little fire. It's very welcoming, isn't it? That looks nice. How beautiful. Ikran Rookery. Let's go. Nice little bit of guiding the player through here. Clear signpost and the fire there. And just using these bright plants to catch your eyes. It's leading you around, isn't it? You know, there's like lovely colours being used here to catch the eye. All that there. And just look, you know, those curtains framing this cave. Like a doorway, isn't it? You know, just guiding the player through. And look at it, the different colour leading you round to the right here with these mushrooms. It's beautiful. And look, oh, those rocks there, that rock shelf. Most games would probably make you jump up that. It would be a hard stop. And you'd be like, oh, stop, okay, jump. Avatar is great at just making it easy and fluid to move around. You know, I'm just pressing forward. And if anything less than waist height, I think, or even about waist height, it just moves you over it. So I really appreciate that sort of control. They've really thought about this. It's a real shame this game wasn't more of a commercial success. I would have loved them to make another one. But for whatever reason, it wasn't. I don't think Avatar Frontiers of Pandora gets nearly enough credit for the technology they've got in this game and the art. It just looks fantastic. For me, this defines a generation. The tech they've used in this and just the sheer like quality of art and assets and lighting and world building, environmental design. It's top notch. Nothing else comes close for my preference. Let's look at that all on these trunks here. We've got other little plants on plants. You know, you've got assets with assets on them, and then often you've got assets on the assets. And it just looks amazing, isn't it? A lovely waterfall just to feast your eyes. Look at the light shining through at the top of there, that contrast. I've got more waterfalls falling into this sort of We're in a sort of tube, aren't we here? And here we are, there's all these little plants here. Let's get down here. Just look at these little plants here as we get closer. They light up, don't they, when we get closer? A lot of the flora does this in this game, you know, and often I suspect a lot of people haven't even noticed because they're sprinting through the jungle on the mission to mission to mission. And it's only when you slow down that you can see all this stuff. You know, and lots of little plants do this. Hello, little plants. I'm wondering whether it gives us a name for this. Sadly, not every plant is covered in the identifier overlay here, which I really like reading about it all. One of those mushroom thingies here, and again, look, lighting up as we get through them. You know, if you stood up and you're running through, you don't see it. It's just a detail that I think perhaps many people miss. And look, they're still lit up there, fading off. Let's light you up again. There we go. Stays lit for a little bit, and then it'll dim down. That is just quality, isn't it? That's attention to detail. And here again, another little beautiful rock shelf that we just glide up. Coming through here. Again, that purple shade is leading the eye round. Subtle guiding clues for the player that you just fluidly navigate through here. And hello, we've got one of these rather interesting super plants. Let's go. Whee! Excellent. Love it. Again, what are they called? Those. Oh, there we go. Let's inspect a mermaid tail. How poetic. It's a tightly coiled spring. Excellent. And that also propels pollen from its body by doing that. That kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Nice touch. Some waspy bee things. Of course, they're purple. Pandora loves purple and blue, don't they? I think it's a good aesthetic. It plays with the greens of the jungles and stuff really well. The overall palette is just beautiful. What we get there? And hello? Yeah, nice little bit of glow going on. Ah, well done. Well done. Yeah, here we go. I actually talked to a few of the guys that worked on this game in the art department, and they seemed very proud of it, and rightly so. Now let's carry on through the cave here. You know, it's dark and it's so easy to sort of navigate through this path. You know, it's like I'm being led by the eyes really, with colour and light. It's just, it's a really good level design that they've got here. And we've got these lovely purple things here. And I do believe I have to shoot things to get through here, is that right? Let's have a look. See, touch you there. Yeah, that's it. I remember how to do that. It's been a while. Away we go. Thank you. Let's just ask, what's your name? A gateway lily. Of course it's a gateway lily. There we go. Often used for various puzzles throughout the game. Environmental puzzles. Look at the way the light is just coming in through there. And it's just bouncing off the walls, isn't it, there? And the glow, it's mixing with the glows of the greens and the purples. Man, it's a treat for the eyes. It was a treat for the eyes. Let's carry on. Another mermaid's tail. A lovely little bit of water there. Again, I think the water is great in this game. Look at that, we've got ripples from our movement there. And look at that little sort of wind ruffling the surface every now and again there. That's really nice. And what I really like about the water in Avatar, the way it meets the ground is really nice. It doesn't really highlight it that well here. We'll go and look at some rivers in a bit to highlight that. But nice sort of greeny stuff as well. I know what these mushrooms taste like. I'm not sure if the Navi eat them or not. Let's do our nice little jump. Thank you. Hey, let's go. Bit of riverage going on there. Now, while I say that this game is the best looking out there, you know, generally, and the water shaders are really good, but the only thing I could probably pick at, actually, is the actual water surface. And I know they have flow maps, and it generally flows pretty well and goes around rocks, but it often doesn't. It often goes straight through them. And the surface of the water isn't quite as active as RDR2's water, I don't think. It's not as reactive, and it's not as interactive with the rocks and boulders and its streams. Whilst it is doing it to a certain extent, I think on RDR2, if I say so myself, I think we did it better. But overall, as great as Rockstar games tend to be, I think the Snowdrop engine is delivering more, at least in the case of Avatar. And Star Wars Outlaws is a great looking game too. Again, say what you like about missions and story and whatever, the game itself is fantastic looking. I'd like to do some walkarounds of Star Wars Outlaws. Just wander around the towns. Here we are up there. And we'll wander through again, guided by this beautiful glow. And the red up there in that little window of rock. Again, all just your eye just picks these things up. And you naturally want to go toward them. It's like signposting. This could be such a nightmare to navigate, these environments. It could be terrible. And you'd be lost all the time. But they've done a really good job of signposting around. Now let's go up here. Wandering around. Probably light catching the rocks there. And look at that. Our first open view from these caves. Leading up to the pinnacles up there. I mean, what a sense of freedom this is giving us, isn't it? That's amazing. And a big old jump over there. Beautiful wound up jump. Crouch a little bit. Pop up you go. And look at that. We're just guided up there, aren't we? Going up there. We hit the waterfall. The red plants are leading our eye up over there. And again, up to the red through there, into that window. Yeah, it's masterfully done. See there, I think the water could be a little bit more interesting in places like that. That's what I was talking about before. It's a little static, isn't it? That's all I'd say. Although, you know, the flow map is doing a good job. I can see it kind of going around something just under the water there. There we go. Let's go up there. And it's one of these little... Looks like a pumpkin, doesn't it, really? Let's get our bow out. I'm going to use the short bow. Rapid fire. Thank you. Away you go, bow. Let's go on up there. Love the climbing. I do wish I could turn the UI off on things like that, but unable to. I've switched everything else off that I can. But this is about it. Let's just go around here. Look at that there. Steps across the water. The white contrast of the waterfalls just leading the eye straight up there. All the way up there, and you see the Ikrans flying about, chilling around their rookery. Let's have a little look down here. There we go. And you see where the water meets the rocks at the edge of the river there, you know, you get this kind of lapping effect. And it really evokes to me, you know, that slight surface tension that the... Whoops, didn't realise it was that deep. You see that kind of surface tension effect on water where it's quite slow moving. And it's just really effective. Especially where you've got rocky pebbles and stuff on water. I can see it there creeping in amongst those rocks there. It's great. It just beds in the water. And that's not something that we had on RDR2. So I think that these effects here really help sell the river water and where it meets the land. You know, they've got a really good thing going on there. So that's what I would say they've done better than RDR2. Got some fishes swimming around. Well, let's carry on up here. Up the lovely steps. Don't even need to press jump. But I'll have to jump on that one. Go up there. And we've got another spring plant. Mermaid's tail. Thank you, Mermaid's tail. And we flow up here. It's just so flowing. Really nice. Put your bow away. And into some nice little cave. Again, little windows through into the other view. All these little insects. Wonder if we can identify an insect, or they're moving a bit too quick for me. We can look at that though. A leopard palm. Similar to a small palm. Great source of fruit. Tasty fruit. Looks nice. Sadly, I can't pick it though. Okay, I can pick most fruit. Not this one. Let's go around there. I love that the characters sometimes when you walk close to a rock face, they put a hand against the rock wall. Let's see if we can get a character to do it. Come on. It's usually to push foliage out of the way. There we go. It just really sells your existence in the world, and you're reacting to, you know, walls next to you and stuff. It's a lovely rock wall. Again, look at that view. You just feel a breeze that's coming up now as we're getting a bit higher. The winds must hit these rocks and just get funneled straight up. And look at that layering of the trees and stuff. Look at that leading up there. That's amazing. That is great. And the lodding on the trees is brilliant. I think they've done a really good job. It's very smooth and generally seamless. And what, again, this is another thing I like about this game. You stop for more than like 10 seconds or so, and you get some beautiful music just piping in. Because the game is thinking, you know, maybe they've stopped to look at the view. And so it starts playing some lovely epic vista music or this sort of stuff. I often just pause and let the music come in and just look around peacefully. And that's just great design decision that they've integrated what you're doing with the audio really well, I think, generally. It sets the atmosphere. You know, it really makes me feel like I'm on Pandora. I think it's fantastic. So when I start moving, it'll gradually sort of fade the music out. It must detect the speed you're going, I guess, because if you move very slowly, it still keeps going. Again, which is nice because I like to just maybe slowly creep around and get a slight different angle. Like that. Beautiful. Look at the layering of the trees fading off into the mist. And that silhouette of that little sapling on the ledge there. This is just such a great looking game. I will keep repeatedly saying this. I make no apology for it because the people that worked on this game and did all the art and design, you know, they deserve cheers and recognition for this game. In fact, I do believe a lady that worked on this, I used to work with her at Bizarre Creations. I saw her in the credits. But well done. I'm sure you know who you are if you ever watched this. Yeah, we worked at Bizarre Creations together on Blur, on a James Bond game called Bloodstone, if anyone remembers that. And then on Blur 2, which then got cancelled by Activision, sadly. And then the whole company got closed down, which was a shame. But then that's how I ended up at Rockstar. So, you move on. There we are, home tree. Look at that. Look at that shot just framed in that window of view there. Showing where you've come from. As I recall in the missions, you first visit home tree and you get led over to the Glade of Light, and then they tell you about the Ikrans and you can get your own Ikran. So it's a nice little tie back to the start of the mission, I think, this point. Beautiful. I often wonder, is this home tree the home tree from the film? The first Avatar film? But that got kind of destroyed and knocked over, I thought. But it's still called home tree. Maybe they ought to call them all home tree. Maybe there's loads of home trees on Pandora. There probably is, isn't there? And again, that, look at that. Leading you straight there, you can't help but see that view, can you? when I was first playing the missions in this game, I was looking at all that stuff at the upper plains thinking that was backdrop. I didn't know that that would eventually become playable area. And then when it just kept opening up, after you move out of the Kinglore Forest, the game just keeps opening up. And then you get the upper plains, and then that all opens up, and then it happens again with the clouded forest over on the northwest of the map, and it's just like, oh my god, there's another. It's amazing. So all of that is beyond in the distance, is playable all the way. Astounding. Let's go for these awesome vines. This is just so evocative of the film, and they're climbing over all those vines and jumping out and looking at all the views of Pandora. It's great. They've done this really well. There we go. Look, we've already gained quite a bit of height down there. Ikran's shouting, screaming at me, probably. Vines going up. All the forests over there. Got all that. It's so lush. It is so lush. I can't imagine how they organised the environment art for this. But I mean, just look at the sheer number of vines and stuff, you know, all intertwined with these 3D floating objects. They did such a great job. They must be very organised. It's hard organising a team of artists to work on specific areas, making sure you can all match up correctly with what everyone else is doing, and just making sure everywhere gets attention. The joins, particular, who handles joins where, you know, that can often be somewhat confusing. Who's doing the join between where you meet the next area? Look at that home tree just in the shadows. The clouds are kind of going over it. The winds blowing through. Blowing up there, and further mountains over there. I could fly to each and every one of those and land on them and just chill out. See all the way over there. Look at that, there's big old waterfall over there. Right, let's carry on over here. There we are. Look at that there. There's a sort of mural thing there leading us on. Beautiful. Well, let's carry on over here. Let's put a ledge jump in. Whee. A ledge to jump over there. And there we are. Look at that, framed by the cliffs and these big roots in front, and then you get all that view all the way around. Absolutely stunning.